Hey, everybody, welcome to the Tech-Mex Podcast. We're your hosts, Erick and Mando, and this is episode 78, number 78. We're bringing you the latest in tech, Bitcoin, wealth. What else is there? I'm not sure. So you can stay ahead. We got some interesting ones for y'all today. Dale.
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 You know, you always want to be cleanest, wealthiest, and I guess what else?
Clean is good. I mean, that's part of
clean,
one of the
cleanest,
basics.
cleanest and wealthiest. What about that?
Yeah. I agree. Well, what about the richest? These Bitcoiners are really attracting a bunch of new billionaires. Have you heard this article?
We are the cool kids, though. Everybody wants to be with the cool kids, right? Which article, though?
So we saw this week that it turns out there's some billionaires have been starting to buy up a lot of the BlackRock IBIT Bitcoin ETF. So, of course, we've been, this is what we talk about every week, but we're seeing that now there's some key billionaire individuals that are starting to get the message, and they're starting to pick some up in big amounts.
Yeah, I did a glance to the article. It's funny that our feeds, they are very similar. Sometimes when we're comparing notes, like, what the heck, I guess we are getting target very similar. When I saw this article, I don't know a lot of the people, though. I only know Paul Tudor Jones. And a lot of these guys, I think that they are kind of hedge funds managers, so no wonder. Yeah. They understand the trends. They understand that there's something there. I think that they are trying to capitalize because in some point, if Michael Saylor's prophecy,
Josh Mann's prophecy
comes through, like last week's episode, right? Like Josh Mann, it could go to in the millions. And we mentioned it almost several months ago or a year ago that in Bloomberg's terminal, Bitcoin, it was set as millions. It was not left there to just be hundreds of thousands. So who knows? I mean, it's very hard. No, we don't have a crystal ball, right? It's funny that always people, what is your prediction? Who knows, right? Like nobody will know. And it's funny that some people, they actually have made big bets. Do you remember this guy that made the bet that it will just be 1 million in 3 months, and he lost it with somebody on Twitter?
Well, that was very, very hopeful, I guess. Give it a little more than 3 months,
Yeah, and I think that sometimes I go into analogies. I think that analogies are super easy to kind of follow and try to see and visualize. And I was explaining to my daughters, it's like trying to have a seed and put it on literally just plant it and yell at the seed, why you're not growing in 3 months, right? And depending on the plant, some plants take years, decades, right? So, but then if you have an apple tree, now you can get the rewards of the apple, and even you can even get other apple trees, right? So I think that is maybe that analogy is similar here. You get your sats, right? It's okay if you don't have the money to get your full Bitcoin. You get your sats. Then at some point, if you don't want to do it in that route, you can do it in your Robinhood account on whatever broker with IBIT. And then maybe when you have 100 contracts, then you start getting your options, and those are your apples.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's really interesting here, at least in this article, is that these are actual hedge fund managers. So these are people that are well known in the industry. They're the ones that set trends in the industry, and people are looking to see what they're doing. So I think this is going to be very, very key. And right now, Bitcoin has been bouncing around pretty much like in the same channel for a very long time at this point, right? It's been kind of in the 80s, bounded on the upper side by 90, bounded on the lower side by 80 or so, and it's just kind of been bouncing around in that channel for months and months, and maybe probably already for a full year, right? Outside of the brief upward swings and downward swings. So I think it's establishing a pretty good base here. And I think that's what these hedge fund managers are seeing. They're
Hmm.
like, okay, pretty good base, pretty strong. Maybe now is a good time to really get in. And, we're always talking about what's really going on in the background. So they're just looking for a good opportunity to come in, and then they will end up driving that price up. Not necessarily because they're trying to control it necessarily, but because there's only so much supply, there's only so much to go around. It will inevitably do that. We're, by the way, not financial advice, right? But that's what will happen, right? There's only so many of these to go around. So Ken Griffin from Citadel, very well known name, people see him start doing it, the other smaller hedge funds are also going to start doing it. Same thing. Paul Tudor Jones, very well known name. They're all buying millions of shares right now. And these are big bumps up from what they were doing previously. I think they were maybe dipping their toes before, testing it out, seeing, setting up how they're going to manage it, or if it's just going to be with IBIT, whatever the case. Now they're going in a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and as you said, this guy, the first one in the list is Israel Englanders. I have no idea about that guy, and the guy is worth like 14 billions, and his position now is 27%. It's very interesting to me that they always say, "Hey, only 2%," right? But I think that sometimes it's very misleading because when your account is small, sometimes diversification will kill your returns, right? And again, there is a lot of dogma here. There is a lot of strategies, right? Do your own research, talk to the people that you need to. But from my perspective, I feel that sometimes these type of big bets, it does what it requires, and you can see it also on poker. When you're playing poker, the people that they just do one little like chip at a time, they are the ones also just going on the table because you have to bet, and that's kind of what makes the professional poker players good decision makers because they have to wait on the odds on to be able to size it properly with the pot and being able to just like put the chips in the center of the table, right? And I think that these guys are great poker players. And whether they play poker or not is like the biggest casino of all, right? Wall Street, baby.
That's right. Well, may the odds be with them and with us. So I think that's a great analogy. They're going all in here, and their expectations are going to be massive, massive growth. I think they've got lots of things on their side, on our side, between friendly administration, supply running short. I think we're going to see this go even really more mainstream. Some people say we're already mainstream. I think in terms of people being aware of Bitcoin, yes, I think that's mainstream. But the
It's not
actual
though.
people investing,
Yes.
maybe not quite yet, right?
When your Uber driver is talking about getting IBET, that's when it's like, and then your mom or your grandma asking you on Thanksgiving dinner, it's like, yeah, like what is this thing IBET, that the Tech-Mex podcast was talking about?
By the way, that's so true. A friend of ours on one of our group chats was mentioning, "Hey, what phase are we on in Bitcoin right now?" And he showed some Twitter post saying, "Hey, you can get ahead by like taking out a 0% APR or 0% transfer credit card, buying IBIT with that, and then transferring it, and then you got to pay back for a year. By then, to the moon." Yeah, so it's like, oh gosh, that starts getting a little scary. Yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm trying to figure out how to buy more IBIT Bitcoin every day, but there's some more risky ways of doing it, I guess.
For sure. I'm trying to find the tweet to see
Oh,
because it's I think that I found it. Let me share my screen because this is good. It's like super maxi.
he's like on the triple maxi Michael Saylor train right there.
I guess so. It's like, okay, So a step-by-step guide using 0% interest credit cards overdraft strategy to buy an MSTR and BTC, right? Prepare to understand the process. And it just goes into ensure the checking account has high limit on the credit card, research and select 0% credit cards, right? So, this is tough, man. Sometimes I will say,
YOLO.
YOLO. Look, I
Not financial advice,
no
y'all.
financial advice, guys. This is like like using it to your own discretion, right? But I can tell you that a few years back, I was usually I walk with my wife, Katie. We like to do walks in the morning, and one of those I was asking her like, how come people are not borrowing more money? And this was when interest rates were 2%, right? And I had the realizations like because everybody kind of that was the norm for us like here in America. That was a typical interest rate a year, right? And then I it's just one of those things that it just kind of like why people is not borrowing as much as they can, right? Because the banks know how much in based on the rules and whatever they have, the underwriters they will say no, these people cannot repay when you're asking for larger amounts, right? Credit cards, yeah, they sometimes give it to you left and right, but bigger amounts they it goes into the process of the underwriters. So sometimes I tell my wife, and that way helps me out to figure out if I'm seeing a problem, right? And yeah, that's literally what happened. It's like I just start borrowing as much as I can to buy more Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, that's true. And some of it has to do with, I guess, your stance. With finances and things like that. Some people don't even like using credit cards, not even for the points. They'd rather pay everything with cash, right? There's you can go in either direction, right? Either extreme. You can go all the way and leverage yourself as much as you can, or the other way is just operate out of cash and just do savings, put it under your mattress, right? That type of stuff. So I can see both sides. I lean more towards the leveraging side, right?
It's like and I help you here. Let me interrupt you here a little bit. I feel that is the leverage we can get the payment within the options, and that's the reason why we tell you that for the audience to learn about it, because it's called a spread. It's basically the interest rate that they're asking you, even with right now 5%, 6% that you might think that is high. Yeah, but you can get that in a couple of weeks. You're selling options if you do it in a good way, and depend on the size of the account and all of that. So, which is like you're literally paying in 1 month the whole fee of holding that cash. So it's like that's the reason why you want to leverage, but not in a way that it will harm you. Another thing that I will say is don't try to use the margin from the brokers, because those guys they will terminate your contracts or your position quickly. If you wanted to do it across institutions.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I mean, there's different ways of doing it. And like what we've been saying, if you are interested in options, go try it out. There's paper trading, do paper trading, which is they give you a fake 100K just to at least get familiar with the mechanics. Mando has mentioned, yeah, it's not going to be exact. It's not going to be like you're not going to get a one-to-one experience, but you will get a feel for it, know which buttons to push, know what to look for, understand the mechanics of how to do it. It's not too complicated once you get in there. I know it can be daunting because you hear these terms floating around: instruments, options, calls, long, short, all this stuff. You will get the hang of it. That's our PSA. Try it.
And
You'll see that you can make your money back.
yeah, and some of these strategies, I feel that once in a while we see these type of things coming in, right? And people sometimes tell me, "Hey, why you didn't tell me?" Like, bro, now I put it on freaking Twitter and in the podcast. Just follow the channel. It's funny
You're
because
right. You're
my
right.
barber is like, bro, you need to teach me that. Yeah, go to episode
Yeah.
76 and 75.
72.
Yes, so and it's helpful because I'm really enjoying to do the pod because it kind of shows a little bit of the progress that we're having, right? Even in our careers as well, right? So what we are thinking, the things that we see, our point of view. So I think that this is a good opportunity for us to thank the audience, right? Thanks for all of your comments, for following us. Some comments like, "Hey, I saw you on the freeway. That's awesome, cool."
Yeah, it's always fun. So we really appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, comment. Let's go ahead and move on to this next topic. Speaking of like seeing people on the freeway, there is a interesting news. Okay, so we've been talking a little bit about there's a little bit of Tesla backlash right now in the news because of political leanings and things like that. Well, there's even been these websites where there's people targeting different Tesla owners, basically doxing them, showing where they live and things like that. Well, turns out there was a guy that got his vehicle keyed while he was at the airport, his Model X. Well, guess what? The Teslas have cameras all over them. They actually have camera footage of this stuff. Did you hear about this one?
No, but I mean, it's all on the news. People is like vandalizing them, right? And look, um, I feel thanks for pulling it in. Like, man, this is like, oh man, this is like outrageous, you know. And
Yeah.
then okay, so this guy did it, and they were able to find the person.
So they actually found the person. So they arrested this guy. So Jeff Wynn, he wanted to be anonymous, but his name's out there, is suing the guy for $1 million for keying the car. So, obviously the $1 million, the Model X is not worth $1 million,
Hmm.
but he's saying that this vandalism was politically motivated, which more than likely it is, and we're seeing kind of this animosity towards Teslas and things like that. They did catch the suspect, Rafael Hernandez, who was arrested, and now he's getting sued for $1 million. So it's pretty interesting. There's ways of fighting back, right? In Texas, a lot of guns in Texas, so you don't really want to have to contend with that. But lawsuits, that also works, I think.
Dude, it's we're Hispanics, and they're all colors, right? Meaning like there's some Republicans, there's some center ones, and there's some liberals, right? It's so funny to me because the people ask me what's my color, and I mean it like I don't care, I don't know. I'm just like freaking
Brown.
like so it's like I am just a critical thinking, like I just use my critical thinking, and some people some ideas will be good in one side and some other ideas will be good in the other side. It's not polarizing for YouTube, right? YouTube likes to be polarized.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny, and now it's also more funny because we had the truck almost a year. Well, it's a little bit less than a year, and and it's just funny how before a sector of the population was like hating you, and now it's kind of the opposite. Have you had that experience?
Oh, definitely. Just this week, it was so funny. I was going down the street and I see like this big white Dodge Ram truck trying to catch up to me. And all of a sudden I see his arm sticking out of the window, and I'm used to seeing one thing, but he was like, yeah, but he was like with intensity. He's like, yeah, thumbs up, like, yeah, I love it. And then he looks over and he sees us. He's like, oh wait, they're Mexican. Hold on. Kind of caught him by surprise there a
Oh
little
shit.
bit. So a little cognitive dissonance, right? It didn't maybe line up with what he was expecting, but it's really funny. I have been seeing this trend shift. I will say before I had a lot of maybe more Democrat
Mhm.
leaning people asking me about the truck, very interested about it, maybe just about the EV, the technology, and always kids. Kids always love this
Oh
thing. I
yeah,
think
because they
it's
know
all over the
though.
video games and stuff like that. It's just cool,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Well, it's been shifting now. I'm getting a lot of older white men asking me about the truck and giving me thumbs up and just like yeah. It's very very interesting how it just shifted like this. There was someone sitting outside of my truck waiting for me last week to ask me about it. He's like, "Oh, I've been wanting to, now I'm thinking about buying one. My son just bought an $80,000 Ram, but I'm thinking about getting a Cybertruck." It's very interesting the shift in who is becoming interested on this. So very very cool. At this time now, it's the whole gamut that have given me thumbs up. I don't see too many nasty faces anymore. Maybe a couple, but it is pretty interesting. What about you, Mando?
I mean, all the time. Like, I live in a community. Just to let you know, Donald Trump came 3 years ago to the neighborhood.
You give him a high five or what?
I mean, I saw him pass. So, and yes, I was not invited to the party.
They say go through the back or what?
It's like, yeah, it's like, bro, this is where I live. Just open the damn gate. So, but what I'm saying is that it's super red, right? And as you said, it was very obvious to me, that conversion of crowd. Kids, as you said, every time that I'm driving, like, yeah, like all of the kids. And lately, I have been trying to connect my inner child, right? Like when I was like maybe 15 or something like that, because I feel that right now I'm asking myself how my younger me will see the things that I'm doing, right? Will my younger self will say, "Hey, you have like a bunch of followers, a YouTube channel, and a fucking Cybertruck." Yeah. So that's my standard of living these days. If I can
Younger
impress
you.
my
There you go.
my younger me.
Oh, that's cool. That's fun. Well, for sure. I mean, the landscape has changed. Still, people very, very much so interested though in this. So, very, very cool. Moving on. Have you seen some of what's going on with AI, OpenAI? I think they made a release this week, right? And a lot of
Mhm.
people are excited about. Have you had a chance to use it?
Have you seen my profile picture?
This one?
Exactly. Dude, I have been
It looks
playing
just
around.
like you, man.
It's just like I don't know, like a Mexican Wolverine. Who knows?
Wolverine?
It's I love anime. I think that one of the first cartoons that I really like, it was just like Dragon Ball Z, like Dragon Ball, right? And this was like,
Hmm.
and I have always seen anime. This is basically the style that you see is Ghibli, which is a
Hmm.
studio, and man, it just turned out the whole internet, right? So tell us a little bit more what you're finding out.
Right. So OpenAI did release a OpenAI released a new I guess a new image
Like an update.
generation,
Yeah, it's an
an
update.
update. It's an update and people are just like, for some reason they just discovered it. Now don't get me wrong, the image generation that it's able to do, it's been able to do this before. I've been doing it for a while. In fact, at work, what I do is on your little teams, whatever your profile pics, I change it out like every month or every quarter or so, like with new pictures. I generate pictures. I've been doing it for years at this point. People are like, Eric, what's your new picture? You look cool today. What's going on? Right now, I have like an angry lawyer look with my red tie and
That's how they see you.
it's like,
Like
yeah,
an
it's
angry
like don't mess with me. Yeah, like it's evil Eric back in the house. But I'll have a summer look probably coming up. I'm not sure. We'll see. I usually change it with the season. Anyways, so we've been able to do this for a long time, but I think the key here is that there is this Ghibli studio that you mentioned that has, I believe there's an anime where this artist specifically is associated with this look. Now I saw that OpenAI disallowed the use of this specific artist, like using his name to say, "Hey, draw me in the version of this artist, like his style." They don't like that, but so they moved it to the Ghibli studio, and that's what gives you those results. So it looks pretty cool. I think it looks fun. Apparently, it got so popular and so viral that it ended up melting the the
The
OpenAI
GPUs.
service, the GPUs. They were getting a little overheated, I think.
Yeah, and it made it a lot of viral because Sam Altman posted on X like, "Hey,
Hmm.
we got a new update," and he actually changed his profile picture to a Ghibli style, and then it just went like wildfire, right? Like a lot of people really like it. I wanted to mention a parenthesis. A lot of the friends know Eric as Evil Eric, and me as the good Eric. What my full name, remember, is Eric Armando Gomez, aka Mando. But yes, he was the evil Eric, and I was the good Eric.
The turns have tabled, or how's it go? How the tables have turned.
I guess. But yeah, I feel that these type of things, it just goes viral because they are AI generated. Because you can upload your pictures. Sometimes GPT will come back, "Hey, this is against my policy to do these modifications." But if you are able to get it through, very very good pictures. And I don't know, man. I feel that this is something that is gonna keep staying. We saw it with the Bitmojis. People like to change in a more cartoony way. I have no idea why. Maybe they don't like each other, right? So I have no idea why.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just a fun thing to do. It's cool to kind of personalize things, but maybe do different things. I had one that I really liked. It turned me into an 8-bit Nintendo character, and I used that as my profile picture at work for some time. That one was pretty fun. It's kind of like I'm in a video game. you know,
Did they put you like
it's,
Mario Bros, man?
yeah,
Mexican
no,
Mario Bros.
no, no. And I've done like GTA style. I've done a bunch of them, but it's kind of fun just to kind of see yourself. In fact, when we started experimenting with thumbnails a little bit, like if you look at some of our earlier episodes, you'll see our pictures in there. I did one me as AC Slater from Saved by the Bell. That one looked really interesting, really funny. That was not in cartoon style. That was a more of a realistic style. But I didn't really have like the curly Jerry curl hair, like with the mullet in the back, right? That was just AI making me look like that. I think there's the one with the junk in the trunk. The Cybertruck has junk in the trunk or something like that. I don't remember, but you'll be able to see it. So we were experimenting with AI there, and we're still experimenting. I don't have. I've got. I guess I can show you guys. I've got a bunch of. I've got a bunch of GPUs here. I've got about 8 of these. Well, we're building a new AI server to help with some of our automations, and obviously helping with some of this. We can do some items offline and help with our production and things like that. So, we're working on that too. But it's a really fun. This is what people like to see. Maybe we can bring a little bit more of the AI stuff here. But I thought that was kind of a fun thing to take a look at, because that Ghibli art style is just taking off. We're melting servers out there. I've
I
got to try it. I
recommend
didn't get a chance to try it yet. We
I
did yours.
recommend a
Yours
lot of
looks
people
good.
to yeah, I recommend a lot of people to try it, but also I recommend people to start watching anime.
Mm.
Because for me, it's like a lot of the kind of the newest stories is you have the hero's journey. You have this person that just follows the whole journey, right? And for me, they're super predictable. A lot of the stories, like, oh man, I have seen this already. Like, the rags to riches story.
Hmm.
Like kind of like the typical story, right? Like, oh, this is how it's gonna end, and boom, it ends like that. One of the things that I really like anime for is because you have no fucking idea what is coming in. suddenly you think that they're in love and all of that. Bam, they kill the girl, right? Holy
Oh
shit! It's
god.
like, what the heck, right? Or it's like suddenly, it's like going into just to the school and suddenly this freaking world like Harry Potter, right? Like they are out there, right? And some of these are actually the inspiration for some of the market, like literally for the for the masses. An example of
Hmm.
that is Matrix. Matrix went mainstream, right? And
Yep.
even Bitcoiners, we have the orange pill with the blue pill and the red pill, right? Well, all of that originated with anime. There were a couple animes in the 80s, right? So you have Ghost in the Shell and all of that. Like there is a series of animes that there's, if you don't want to invest a lot of time, start with some movies, right? Because sometimes they're like long series. But yeah, the Japanese, they have a different way of telling stories. And for me, it's captivating because it's not easy to predict. You don't know what is
Hmm.
coming in. So I recommend people. I don't think that you follow anime, right, Eric?
No, I have not really gotten into it. Is there one you recommend? What's your favorite?
It's just so many and so different because I have
Hmm.
kids as well. Like
Hmm.
some actually are like more tailored to that, but I feel that maybe something kind of in the middle is spirited away, and that's
Hmm.
actually from the Ghibli studio. And another one that is cute is Totoro, my neighbor Totoro.
Hmm.
Um, that's another one that is kind of cute. Basically, anything from the Ghibli studios. There's like
Oh, okay.
there's one recently from last year, The Boy and the Heron's Bird or something like that. Um, that one is good too. We recently watched it. So, but yeah, it's just the stories are very different. But if you want something more like Tech-Mex, then watching Netflix Cyberpunk. But that's a
Oh,
series of
okay.
10 episodes. But it's like, oh man, that's like it speaks to my
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk. It just speaks to my heart, man.
Okay. Well, maybe that's one that we'll check out on Netflix. Cyberpunk. Sounds very, very interesting. You know what I think is kind of cool? Like we're seeing, like we can turn ourselves into these Ghibli characters, right? Since it's animation, I mean, we should be able to put ourselves into these stories, right? Be able to use AI to make our own stories with our own characters, right? In this animation type style. I think that would be pretty cool.
So I just found it, right. It's Cyberpunk Edge Runner. So basically, it's in the future, and they can
Can you
enhance
zoom
their
in on it
bodies.
a little bit there?
Yeah, yeah. So oops, here
Yeah, cool.
you notice, yeah. So Rotten Tomatoes 100. I don't know if that I
Oh
will give it
wow,
100, but I mean, sure, it's pretty good. It is pretty
that
good.
is pretty good.
But
is
probably
it like is it like the video game Cyberpunk? Because it looks like the text is very similar.
it's a very it's a I think that there is a video game. But yeah, it's they made the series, and I don't consider it to be very PG-13, but who knows, right? Um, but yes, it's a kind of like it's still maybe a little bit more Americanized type of anime,
Hmm.
but it's a good, like okay, now you're getting into anime, and then you can go into some weird shit, like freaking our friend Lee. I asked him like, dude, what anime do you recommend me? And he gave me one that like, what the heck is this? It's like an arty farty anime, man. It's called
Oh
Paprika or
really?
something like that. Let me see. I finished watching it and I was like, what the fuck are they all like?
What did you just watch?
Like, just look at this. Let me show you again uh, the screen here, because it's like, just look at even this and you'll see like, so
Wow,
yeah,
it's
it's
a little
like
confusing.
the guy is wearing like freaking LSD or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Well,
Anyways, but yeah, it's a cyberpunk is gonna be your doorway, man.
okay, we'll check it out. Well, in other AI news, did you see Elon Musk just bought Twitter all over again? Did you hear about this?
Deja vu, yes.
We're in the matrix.
Dude. And it's like, I'm glad my PTSD is cured, so I don't care. So
Right.
it's like, God bless Elon, whatever, whatever he does, whatever, don't care, either way.
So if y'all haven't seen, Elon Musk just bought Twitter or X again, but he did it through XAI. So now XAI owns X, right? XAI, of course, is their AI that has Grok, right? Grok is their Chat GPT, essentially their large language model. I think this synergy probably makes a lot of sense. They were probably already sharing a lot of data, working together between the two companies. I think now he just basically formalized it, right? There's
I'll
probably
tell you
also
my point of
some
view, though.
financial benefits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
go
tell you
ahead.
my point of view, because this is in the news, right? But I
Uh-huh.
really feel that the investors wanted to cash out. This is me. This is just Mando's point of view. It's
Mm,
like, dude, you're messing around with the government. It's like, you're with Tesla. You're like, you say that you're gonna do this and you have not done this.
hmm.
I want my money out. And then
Yeah.
obviously Elon has his money and he just, okay, let me just clean up this shit. Then it's just repurchase some of that. So that way they remove the people that they don't want to be there, right? Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows if that's the truth or not?
You're probably right. That's probably what got the juices turning there, the wheels turning there in terms of, okay, what should we do? That, I mean, would make sense. So it allowed some people to get out,
Yeah.
you know.
And if you notice, they lost. Right now, it was purchased in 44 billions, Twitter, and they
Hmm.
are rebuying it for 33 billions. So, and the other thing that could be that I was thinking, why they did this, right? The other
Hmm.
one is taxes, just
Hmm.
to basically is like, hey, just present the loss to the IRS. It's just moving money from one pocket to the pocket, but at least you can harvest the loss.
Hmm. 11 billion.
Yeah, billion. Like, I mean, and it's funny though, because you think that all of these playbooks is only for billionaires. That's not true. Like, if you lost in as well yourself, again, we are not financial advisors, we are not accountants. Check your CPA, right? But you leverage and do the same things. Like, you can do harvesting losses for your Bitcoin if you probably purchased it in 100K, and then now it's 80K and for this year, and you sold it and all of that. Then you can just start harvesting some of those losses. And the good news is that maybe you might be able to purchase it back, because there is no uh, you can do the round trip, right? So you can do the same techniques of the billionaires.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, very, very interesting news here. I don't think there's going to be any changes to X because of this, or to Grok because of this. There's going to be some efficiencies, maybe. Like maybe he's going to go all Doge on his own companies and fire a bunch of people that are redundant between the two. Maybe, I don't know. I think he already runs pretty lean in a lot of
It runs
cases.
pretty lean. So it
Yeah.
would be tough to get rid of more people unless he put Optimus coding,
Yeah, Optimus is almost there. So I just thought of some interesting news here. So X is no more. It is now part of XAI. Of course, the branding and all that, it's going to stick around. I don't foresee any changes there.
And the funny part though is that he realized this name because X was the company that PayPal purchased, like 20 years ago or whatever, and
Hmm.
then he got the domain back. Elon, he purchased the domain back, and that's when he renamed it again Twitter, right, to that. And
Hmm.
and don't forget that he always has been wanted to do a super app, the
Oh, that's
WhatsApp
true.
for US.
Hmm.
It would be tougher. I think that there's already a lot of competitors
Hmm.
for that, but I mean, you know how resilient is Elon.
Yeah, and some of our regulations might make that a little bit more tough, right? To get everything all under one. I mean, they're trying to get Google to spin off part of their companies as well. So I don't know how that would work, but you
Yeah,
never know. He's very close with the administration now. So
I guess. And it's funny. In last week, Trump is like, Come on, guys, help this guy. Poor
Buy
guy,
a Tesla. Hey,
Buy
hey,
Tesla. Here's a Tesla.
give you a great deal. Like,
He was
forget
like a
about it.
small,
Yeah, I was like,
and he's like, he
what's
also
going
say,
on?
this guy hasn't even asked me for anything. It's like, not yet. Not yet. So it's a
It's too
very
funny.
weird bromance that they have there, but I mean, not judging.
You know what? I don't think we're ready for it. You know what else we're not ready for?
Mm.
The Rock as a dragon.
You like that, huh?
Have you seen this? Oh yeah, well you're the one that told me about
I
this. I
sent it
was
to
like,
you. Yes,
what
it's
are
like,
you talking about? What are you talking about, dude?
maybe do a little zoom in of your. You can do a little zoom in.
There's a
Okay, cool. Dude, I have never thought to see the freaking Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, as a freaking dragon. Dude, this catch my attention because if I will be like 10 years old or whatever, and I have been always a builder, like to build and all of that, 3D printers are amazing. It's like you can use little different parts and all of that. And this kid, 8-year-old, got just an old 3D printer, and now he's just doing these things, and he just went viral, right? Like 4 million views, 800,000 likes.
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, you'd love to have something on your desk that looked like that staring at you every day, right?
Not necessarily The Rock. It's that, I mean, again, I don't judge you, Ramirez.
Can you smell what the Rock is cooking? So how's he doing?
I cannot even put my eyebrow like
that's a recessive gene, being able to do one eyebrow. I don't know.
It's probably my 1.6% alien.
Yeah, I know, right? Aliens have trouble with that part. Yeah. Well, these 3D printers have been on my wish list for a very long time, but I've never gone out to do one. I just, there's so many things that I want to do. I just don't make the time for them, right? But this is pretty neat. I love the creativity that these kids have. It's really interesting. While actually, this episode is playing in the back. We were at the beach a couple weeks ago, me and the family, and my niece came up to me. She's like, I want a YouTube channel. I was like, all right. What do you want it about? Oh, yeah, she does a lot of crafts and crocheting and stuff like that. I was like, okay. So, and she's like, I already did my logo, and she drew it on a piece of paper, and it was a Hello Kitty something or other. She's like, can you make it? I was like, okay, well, let's do it together. So we made it. It's just so interesting how, at that age, I mean, these kids are thinking about things to do, and they're being creative, and they're trying to make them. And really, all they need is the tools to be able to do it, and they'll do it. But a lot of times, they don't really have access to that stuff. So she's got her logo. Now we just need the YouTube channel for her.
Do you think that entrepreneurs are born or like nurture? What was it? There is a saying, right?
Nurture or nature? Probably a little bit of both. But you certainly have to have the bug. I know that plenty of people have zero interest. I don't care about it. They don't want to do it. So you do have to have the bug for sure. So certainly born, but it helps to have some tools and some resources available to help you do it too. So it makes a difference.
Great time to be an entrepreneur for sure. Like you can see these kids, right? Like you'll see that if she hones into it, man, like, I mean, the sky's the limit, right? It's starting entrepreneurship at 18 years old, man. It's like,
for sure. Yeah. Amazing. By the way, she's like eight, I think 7 or 8 years old. So she says she wants to sell. Like I said, she crochets and she makes things. She has a hat that she made to wear to school. She says she's going to sell this stuff on YouTube. I was like, all right, let's do it. Maybe
Let's
she'll let
go.
me borrow one of her things and I can show it up here.
All
We
right.
can do a bidding session, an auction.
An auction.
All right. Well, that's all that we've got today. Hopefully, you smelled what the Rock cooked today. And if you liked it, like, subscribe, comment. We love to hear from y'all. If y'all got some ideas, send them over. We're actually working on an app so you guys can actually contribute. If there's an article you want to learn more about or you want us to explain, you can send it over to us and we can even talk about it on the podcast, right? So that's the goal. We're working on it, trying to get a little bit more engagement with y'all. But I think that's all we got for today. Dale.
Peace.